Hey y'all, this is Allison hanging out in my space to craft, and I wanted to bring you the next level tools, if you will, for scrapbooking. So go back and watch the five critical or five basic tools that you need to do basic scrapbooking. This really sort of are some tools for the next level. Now, I'm not including paper and stickers and rub-ons and titles and alphas and all of those supplies. This is tools. So the first one I want to do is some kind of pokey tool. I just want to talk about them. Some would say these are critical. You can scrapbook without them, but there are a variety of pokey tools that come in handy. This is my I think it's my original Creative Memories tool. I have a second one. It's really good when you're trying to take something off that you can get this under the paper. And so they call this their all-purpose tool. And then it has a pokey end. It's not super pokey, but it does help for getting little bits out of die cuts and things like that. So, and then we also used to use this to measure in your albums. That was how big your albums could get. But it's easy, nice to use, handy, has lasted forever. I think if you really abuse them, this tip can come off. This is my wax tip pokey tool. I use this a lot to move things around. This is when I'm applying gems or sequins. It has a replaceable wax tip. I think I got 2 of these on Amazon. Not expensive, very handy, especially if you like to use sequins and that kind of thing. This is my Cricut pokey tool. I use this all the time. If I'm using die cuts on my Cricut or on my die cutting, my manual tools for poking bits out. And then this is another kind of pokey tool. This one happens to be Creative Memories. I've got a couple of them, but it's an embossing tool. So you can use that if you have, if you're trying to emboss shapes, if you're trying to roll shapes, petals into shapes, all sorts of useful things for this. This is definitely not critical, and unless you're doing a lot of florals or manual embossing, you don't necessarily need that. I talked about inks last time, and the basic inks for inking the edge of papers is obviously a black and a brown, but there's so many other colors. And I have a variety. I have this drawer here with all sorts of different inks in it, lots of different browns, grays, a blended one. I have all sorts of colors. I have Stampin' Up! Inks, but what I find I use the most are these distress oxides. So I have swatched them. I have a whole little shelf of them. I'm probably at almost probably 30 of these. I don't have all the colors, but having some colors like this can really enhance your pages. Maybe you don't want to edge your page with those colors. You're doing an ocean page and you edge with Uncharted Mariner. Or you can then buy some inexpensive stencils. You can tell this one's much loved. This sort of tool. This one could be water or wind. For example, this is a party scene, so this would be really cute on your base page. This one might work well for travel. I've used this recently on a travel page because it's got directional arrows. And so then you can apply a color using either the daubers that I showed you last time, or if you want to step up your game, these brushes are really nice. And I have them for multiple colors. Now that I bought a whole set of like 10 of these for under $30 for sure. So they're not that expensive. I do like these brushes a lot. They're a little, they're nice. These ones are nice and rounded. So you get, and I find that for blending, these work better than these, though I always use these for edging. And Shamel calls them boopers. So, or tapping. These ones don't work for that. So that's one thing that you can do with inks, to sort of add some stenciling, or you can add splatters with a paintbrush, all sorts of things. Or you can stamp, either stamp to create sentiments, titles, or embellishments. So I have a few. I've used this quite a bit on pages if I'm trying to look more distressed. These are Stampers Anonymous, or travel, because there's words in French here and an Eiffel Tower and things like that. So, and then May Made It has some great word and other things that are good for both scrapbooking and cards. So you can then start branching out and look for stamps that will work. I would say most stamps are made more for card making than scrapbooking, but there are some stamps. If you like a lot of florals, then you can stamp florals. You can stamp them on another piece of paper, fussy cut them out, and then use those as embellishments on your paper and make your own. And that way you can get different colors to match your papers. So stamps, stencils, ink, and some cool brushes. So that's kind of an expansion into mixed media that you can do to enhance your pages. There's lots of other mixed media stuff that you can use: gesso, paint, all sorts of things. But you could start with 3 colors that you like and use a lot, a couple of new booper heads to do that. They come in a set of 6 easily. And then just look on sale even for some inexpensive stencils or some inexpensive stamps. All right, the next category is a big one, and that is die cutting machines. So I have on my desk my smallest die cutting machine. This is Spellbinder's Platinum Scout. I really like this one. It can easily sit on my desk. It comes with a bunch of different plates for doing different things, including embossing, if you have embossing folders and things like that. But this is only 3 inches wide here. If you're on a budget, this is a good place to start, because most dies will still fit in here. So you have 9 inches by 3 inches to work with. I also have a Big Shot, which is about 6 inches, and you can get longer plates if you want to. My plates are 6 inches by 9 inches, I believe. Let me double check. That's 9. Might be 8. Nope, it's 9. So 6 by 9, and it's a manual one. And I really like my manual one. The one I have, the Big Shot I have, also does fold up, so it is somewhat portable. It's just a lot heavier than this smaller one. But this is well under $100, including all the mats and stuff. The other one is usually around 100, 120. You can get them on sale sometimes. So if you're on a budget, I would start with, and just starting out, I would start with this one. And then what you need are dies. What are you going to cut? To really amp up your scrapbooking, I suggest starting with some alphas. So, you can buy a set of alphas, but sometimes it doesn't have enough A's, or it doesn't have enough E's. If you have, like my daughter's name, she has 3 E's in her name. So you can get some dies, and these alphas fit on here in this Scout great. This is one of my favorites. It's kind of balloony if you're doing kids, and it's stitched. So that's really fun, and you don't really find stitched letters very often in alphas or thickers that you can buy. But if you had 3 different styles, maybe one that's more formal like this. This one's actually for babies, so it's a little kid-like, and then this one's balloony, for example. You can do a lot with that. And then you can just buy them. These 2 I just bought on sale, so they weren't expensive. From Echo, these are from Echo Park. They have warehouse sales all the time, and so I bought some to expand my alpha dies. You can also get them on Amazon and stuff like that. So you buy this, you buy a few alpha dies, you can do a lot with that. And then the shapes and stuff are endless. Now I have this one, obviously some of these will not fit, so you have to be a little bit careful if this is the only die machine that you have, that you're getting things that will fit in here. But all of these interior ones would fit, and that's a fun shape. I have loads of different shapes that I use. You can make frames out of this, which you could use for photos, which would be really fun. You just use 2. If you had a small photo, you just put 2 together, and voila, you have a photo frame. So that's really fun. I have tags, different sizes. I have all sorts of fun. I even have little characters that you can do. So then you can pick the things that work for you. There are also, we talked last time that I have a full border making system from Creative Memories. That's a pretty big investment in order to get all the cartridges, to get the system and all the a variety of cartridges. But you might find something like this. These are 9 inches long, I think. Yeah, 9 inches long. But I can fuss around with this and get a 12-inch border. And then look at that. I have, and this was much cheaper than a border system, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different scallops. There's things like tickets, which very versatile. You could write different things on the tickets, tear them, decorate your pages. So there's just a lot of variety that you can do. So that is the manual ones. I do also have a Cricut that I do use a lot if I'm creating something a little more intricate or I want different sizes of things. That's really convenient. I have it in my scrapbooking room. I use Cricut Design Center. I will also sometimes make layered titles using that, which is harder to do using these dies. And so there's a lot of versatility, but that's a bigger investment. Probably around $200 to $300 for that investment. Plus, you have to get the images that you want, which it comes with some alphas, that free alphas. Sometimes you can use the alphas on your computer. I also have a Cricut subscription, so that gets a little more costly. But I can also do vinyl and make t-shirts with that. I can make door signs. I helped a teacher this year make huge bulletin boards for her band, her music room, on using the Cricut. So there's just huge versatility with that. I would say more so than these manual ones, but it's a bigger investment. So that's just talking about some of those sort of next level tools that you can use to get more creative with your scrapbooking. Please comment below what your favorite die cutting tool is, what your favorite die cutting machine is, and if you like to use inks on your pages. Give this video a thumbs up and come on back to My Space to Craft, and let's make use of some of these tools.